The intention today is for the repose of the soul of Francis. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
We come before the Lord this day, we ask His mercy and healing in our lives. We were sent to heal the contrite heart. Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
You came to call sinners. Christ, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy.
Intercede for us at the right hand of the Father. Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
May Almighty God have mercy on us, forgive us our sins, and bring us to everlasting life.
Amen.
Okay, I'm going to take this one. Since the Ascension of the Lord, in some parts of the country, in the world, of course, is celebrated today, is a holy day of obligation. In the United States, in most dioceses, including this one, the Ascension has been moved to Sunday, this coming Sunday. So today is celebrated as Wednesday in the week of Easter. Let us pray. Graciously grant to your church, O merciful God, that gathered by the Holy Spirit she may be devoted to you with all her heart and united in purity of intent. Through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you, in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
A reading from the Acts of the Apostles. Paul left Athens and went to Corinth. There he met a Jew named Aquila, a native of Pontus, who had recently come from Italy with his wife Priscilla. Because Claudius had ordered all the Jews to leave Rome, he went to visit them, and because he practiced the same trade, he stayed with them and worked, for they were tent makers by trade. Every Sabbath he entered into discussions in the synagogue, attempting to convince both Jews and Greeks. When Silas and Timothy came down from Macedonia, Paul began to occupy himself totally with the preaching of the word, testifying to the Jews that Christ was Jesus. When they opposed him and reviled him, he shook out his garments and said to them, "Your blood be on your heads. I am clear of responsibility. From now on, I will go to the Gentiles." So he left there and went to a house belonging to a man named Titus Justus, a worshiper of God. His house was next to the synagogue. Crispus, the synagogue official, came to believe in the Lord, along with his entire household, and many of the Corinthians who heard believed and were baptized. The word of the Lord. Sponsorial Psalm. The Lord has revealed to the nations his saving power. The Lord has revealed to the nations his saving power. Sing to the Lord a new song, for he has done wondrous deeds. His right hand has won victory for him, his holy arm. The Lord has revealed to the nations his saving power. The Lord has made his salvation known. In the sight of the nations he has revealed his justice. He has remembered his kindness and his faithfulness toward the house of Israel. The Lord has revealed to the nations his saving power. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation by our God. Sing joyfully to the Lord, all you nations. Break into song, sing praise. The Lord has revealed to the nations his saving power. Alleluia, alleluia. I will not leave you orphans, says the Lord. I will come back to you, and your hearts will rejoice. Alleluia, alleluia.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Praise the Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "A little while and you will no longer see me, and again a little while later, and you will see me." So some of his disciples said to one another, "What does this mean that he is saying to us, 'A little while and you will not see me, and again a little while and you will see me, and because I am going to the Father'?" So they said, "What is this little while of which he speaks? We do not know what he means." Jesus knew that they wanted to ask him, so he said to them, "Are you discussing with one another what I said, 'A little while and you will not see me, and again a little while and you will see me'? Amen, amen, I say to you, you will weep and mourn where the world rejoices. You will grieve, but your grief will become joy." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Back in the 1980s, early 80s, 84, 85, I was a priest in Valley City, and I very good friends with the family there to this day, and they have 5 children. Their children are all grown now, of course. But they invited me to be at the birth of their 5th child. So every time I see Elizabeth, I, of course, can't resist saying, "I remember the night you were born." And I was on retreat in Fargo at the time, and about 3 in the morning, my pastor I was living with woke me up. He came into the room and woke me up. He said, "Brian, wake up, wake up." And I said, "What?" "It's time. Dick called," the husband. And I said, "What? Who?" "Dick called. He said it's time." And I said, "Oh, it's time." And I drove to Valley City and got to the hospital, and of course was there for the, I cut the cord actually. But I remember, the birth of the child, leading up to it, of course, the labor pains and everything, and the mother is going through and everything that's going on, and I'm getting nervous. Where's the doctor? And all of a sudden, just like the scriptures say, they refer to it like a mother cries aloud in pain, waiting to give birth to her child. And when the child is born, all the pain is forgotten and replaced with indescribable joy. And I remember that just before the baby was born, the mother is, of course, making a lot of noise. And all of a sudden, the baby's born. And that painful sound, in an instant, went to this hysterical joy. It just like it transitioned immediately into this, almost like singing in tongues. the joy at the child was born into the world, and immediately the joy the mother felt. And how nature is like that in many ways, and how grace builds on nature, how God works in nature. In the scriptures today, Jesus says, you will grieve. I'm going to be away for a little while, and in a little while you'll see me. He said, you will grieve. And he lets the disciples know ahead of time, you're going to grieve the loss of me, and you won't understand. But in another little while, your grief will be turned into joy. And for now, for the apostles, that joy was the sending of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost Sunday. They were in the upper room praying with Mary, the mother of Jesus, and scared and grieving the loss of Jesus, even though they saw him resurrected. They're still grieving the loss because he's not there. And fearful because the Jews want to put them to death, and they know they're looking for them, so they're in hiding. And all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit comes as flames of fire on their heads. And what does it say they do? They're immediately filled with joy, and they begin ecstatic praises, and the doors open, and they come out, and the people of Jerusalem that are around there hear them. And they say, what, are they drunk? They're just all blabbing. And then suddenly the people can hear them speaking in their own language, and there's many different languages there that day. And Peter says, we're not drunk. He said, it's only 9 a.m. And he said, the Holy Spirit has come, and we're filled with joy. And that joy has continued now throughout the millennia. And so that's what the Holy Spirit does, the joy of the Spirit. In fact, St. Elizabeth of the Trinity, a mystic, said the enduring, how'd she put it? Enduring joy, inner joy, is a sign of the enduring presence of the Holy Spirit. And so we have this joy given by Jesus, even on the way to heaven. And as we continue to stay in intimate unity with Jesus, that joy does not go away. Even with things going on around us, we can experience grief, we can experience sadness, we can experience loss, but that joy of the Holy Spirit does not ever need to leave, ever. A priest one time was talking with me, and he was, it just wasn't going well for him at the parish he was at, and it wasn't anybody's fault. He was overwhelmed and this and that, and he's talking to me about what should he do. And I said, well, I was here at Holy Family. I said, my family's like a big parish. My parish is like a big family. And he said, what should I do? And I said, here's what you do. When you go home at the end of the day, you still have joy in your heart and your soul? And he said, no. I said, then get out of the job. It'll kill you. I said, I can have a rotten day, and I go home and I still am happy. Sorry, I shouldn't let that secret out, but I do. I'm filled with joy. I shouldn't, by God's grace, and I hope that I continue to respond to that. But that's the thing. We must maintain at all costs that unity with Jesus in our heart and soul, that joy of the Holy Spirit, because it's going to be challenged every day and in many ways that we will never expect to see, or that anything during the day, even if we expect it, we're not expecting it. But if we maintain through God's grace the joy of the Holy Spirit, it comes through intimate prayer with Jesus and the celebration of the sacraments, especially Eucharist and reconciliation. We will have a joy, and that inner joy, and it will not leave us. because it's been promised to us by God and by Jesus, that gift of the Holy Spirit. And now let us stand and offer our prayers and petitions to the Lord.
We pray for our Holy Father, Pope Francis, our Bishop John, and for all who hold and teach the faith throughout the world. We pray to the Lord. For our families, our relatives and friends, for those who have asked us to pray for them, those for whom we have promised to pray. For those in our book of intentions, for Holy Family of St. Mary's School, for our parish offices and teachers and principal, faculty, for those for whom we have promised to pray, for those who have no one to pray for them, and those in need of healing, we pray to the Lord.
Lord, hear our prayer.
For all government leaders, for our president, our vice president, our senators, our House of Representatives, our judicial branch, our local legislators, governors, and community leaders, and for the elections coming up for our community, we pray to the Lord. And for Francis and all who have passed from this life, that all may be rejoicing in the kingdom of heaven, the glory of God, we ask this through Christ, our Lord. Amen. Blessed are you, Lord, God of all creation, for through your goodness we have received the bread we offer you, fruit of the earth, and work of human hands, and will become for us the bread of life.
Blessed be God forever.
Blessed are you, Lord, God of all creation, for through your goodness we have received the bread, wine we offer you, fruit of the vine, and work of human hands, and will become our spiritual drink.
Blessed be God forever.
Pray, sisters and brothers, that my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable to God, the Almighty Father.
May the Lord accept the sacrifice at your hands, for the praise and glory of his name, for our good and the good of all his holy church.
Graciously sanctify these gifts, O Lord, we pray, and accepting the oblation of this spiritual sacrifice, make of us an eternal offering to you, through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit,
Lift up your hearts.
we lift them up to the Lord.
Let us give thanks to the Lord our God.
It is right and just.
It is truly right and just, our duty and our salvation, at all times to proclaim you, O Lord, but in this time, above all, to laud you yet more gloriously, when Christ our Passover has been sacrificed. For he is the true Lamb who has taken away the sins of the world. By dying he has destroyed our death, and by rising he restored our life. Therefore, overcome with paschal joy, every land of your people exalts in your praise, and even the heavenly powers, with the angelic hosts, sing together the unending hymn of your glory as they acclaim, Holy, holy, holy Lord God of hosts. Heaven and earth are full of your glory. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. You are indeed holy, O Lord, the fount of all holiness. Make holy, therefore, these gifts, we pray, by sending down your Spirit upon them like the dewfall, so that they may become for us the body and blood of our Lord Jesus Christ. At the time he was betrayed and entered willingly into his passion, he took bread and giving thanks, broke it, and gave it to his disciples, saying, Take this, all of you, and eat of it. For this is my body, which will be given up for you. In a similar way, when supper was ended, he took the chalice, and once more giving thanks, he gave it to his disciples, saying, Take this, all of you, and drink from it. For this is the chalice of my blood, the blood of the new and eternal covenant, which will be poured out for you and for many for the forgiveness of sins. Do this in memory of me. The mystery of faith. Save us, Savior of the world, for by your cross and resurrection you have set us free. Therefore, as we celebrate the memorial of his death and resurrection, we offer you, Lord, the bread of life and the chalice of salvation, giving thanks that you have held us worthy to be in your presence and minister to you. Humbly we pray that, partaking of the body and blood of Christ, we may be gathered into one by the Holy Spirit. Remember, Lord, your church spread throughout the world and bring her to the fullness of charity, together with Francis, our Pope, John, our Bishop, and all the clergy. Remember also our brothers and sisters who have fallen asleep in the hope of the resurrection, and all who have died in your mercy, welcome them into the light of your face. Have mercy on us all, we pray, that with the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of God, with Blessed Joseph, her spouse, with the blessed apostles, and all the saints who have pleased you throughout the ages, we may merit to be co-heirs to eternal life, and may praise and glorify you through your Son, Jesus Christ. Through him, and with him, and in him, O God, Almighty Father, in the unity of the Holy Spirit, all glory and honor is yours forever and ever. Amen. Please stand. At the Savior's command, informed by divine teaching, we dare to say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Deliver us, Lord, we pray, from every evil. Graciously grant peace in our days, that by the help of your mercy we may be always free from sin and safe from all distress, as we await the blessed hope of the coming of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Lord Jesus Christ, who said to your apostles, Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. Look not on our sins, but on the faith of your church, and graciously grant her peace and unity, in accordance with your will, who live and reign forever and ever. Amen. Peace of the Lord be with you always.
And with your spirit.
Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world.
Have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world. Have mercy on us. Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world. Grant us peace.
Behold the Lamb of God. Behold him who takes away the sins of the world. Blessed are those called to the supper of the Lamb.
Lord, I am not worthy to enter into thy kingdom, but only say the word, and my soul shall be healed.
now we're to prepare spiritual communion. My Jesus, I believe that you are in the Blessed Sacrament. I love you above all things, and I long for you in my soul. Since I cannot now receive you sacramentally, come at least spiritually into my heart. As though you have already come, I embrace you and unite myself entirely to you. Never permit me to be separated from you. Amen. Let us pray. May the mysteries we have received, O Lord, we pray, enlighten us by the instruction they bring, and restore us through our participation in them, that we may merit the gifts of the Spirit, through Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you all for joining us today. And one of our regular, my sister, in Texas, but one of the other regulars that we know from our school, who lives in Utah now, Sarah Goldberg. She joins us just about every day, so if you're still on, Sarah, good morning, and thank you for joining us. The Lord be with you.